Welcome to Speak English with James, your daily dose of English. Forget boring drills. We make learning English fast, simple, and entertaining through short, high-quality podcasts. Our videos are designed to help you understand native speakers easily, speak with better flow and confidence, and learn new words in context. Whether you are a beginner or just want to polish your skills, simply hit play and let the learning begin. Subscribe now and take your English to the next level. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Today, we are diving deep into the language of, well, everyday English practice. We've analyzed your sources, and they all seem to circle back to the most common conversational topic there is, describing your day.
It really is the foundation, isn't it? If you can't talk about your day, it's hard to connect with people.
Exactly. So we know that mastering your routine, from the moment you wake up until you go to bed it's essential for getting to that intermediate fluency level.
It's the ultimate bridge. And so the mission for this deep dive is pretty specific. We need to synthesize the core vocabulary, yes.
Right, the words for the daily routine.
But, and this is the crucial part, we have to combine that vocabulary with the specific fluency building techniques, the things that move a learner past just, reciting a list of actions.
And into having a confident, real-time conversation.
That's it.
It's like knowing the word refrigerator is just passive knowledge.
Yeah.
But being able to smoothly say in a story, I had to run back to the refrigerator before I left. That's active speaking.
Precisely. And the sources are so clear on this. This isn't just about learning words, it's about physical training.
Physical training.
Yeah, we need to train the speaking muscles. And just as importantly, we need to build that psychological resilience.
The ability to handle the pressure of a conversation without freezing up.
Without freezing up, exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with the building blocks. An intermediate learner probably knows the basic verbs, so let's not just list them. Let's look at how we structure the morning narrative.
That's a great point. You can't tell a story if you don't have a fluent way to connect action A to action B. So let's treat the daily routine like a continuous story. It starts with wake up, maybe around 7 a.m. for most people.
But for someone who isn't a morning person?
Well, for them, that vocabulary point is immediately followed by hitting the snooze button.
Ah, yes. That's a crucial distinction for learners, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wake up is when your brain turns on, but get out of bed is the physical action that actually starts your day. So we want to hear phrases like, after hitting snooze 3 times, I finally managed to get out of bed and immediately started to stretch.
Yes. That kind of phrasing linking clauses with, after I did X, I immediately did Y. That's what signals fluency. It's so much better than just listing things.
I woke up, I stretched, I brushed my teeth.
Exactly. It sounds like a robot.
So once the self-care part is done, brush my teeth, wash my face, it's time for fuel. We make or have breakfast.
Could be quick, like coffee and toast, or maybe tea and cereal. Then you've got the preparation part. Get dressed.
Which just means putting on your clothes.
Yeah.
Then you put on your shoes and coat right before you leave the house.
And that leads us straight into the commute. You might be driving, using public transit, or walking. The end goal is the same, to go to work.
Now, the midday grind. This part often involves the same key verbs, but they need context, right? You don't just work.
No, you sit at your desk, you work on your computer, and you probably spend a lot of time answering emails.
For professionals, the language can get a bit more complex too. You might be writing reports or articles, or you might have meetings.
Which these days are almost always online meetings, and the little prepositions here change everything. You aren't in the computer, you're working on it.
That's a great point. And then the best part of the workday for many.
Lunch.
Having lunch. The sources gave a nice little breakdown of the options here. You could pack a lunch, bring a container from home.
Or you might eat out, and for remote workers, they just make lunch at home.
Then it's back to work until that wonderful transition, going home.
That great feeling, as the sources called it. The evening routine is really where personality can shine through. It's a mix of relaxation and chores.
For sure. The classic way to wind down is to relax on the sofa and watch TV. Or, if you're feeling more active, maybe you cook dinner.
I like that the sources mention trying new recipes or experimenting. It adds a bit of flavor.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then comes the chore nobody loves, washing the dishes.
We also saw some fun hobbies in the sources.
Absolutely. To wind down, you could read a book, talk to family or friends, or maybe go for a walk or exercise.
And they mentioned the gym and pickleball specifically.
Which really tells you something about modern English, right? It's not just old-fashioned terms, it's whatever is popular right now.
It shows the language is alive and always evolving. So after all that, you get to the final steps before bed.
Brushing your teeth again, maybe removing makeup, changing into pajamas.
Setting the alarm. And
Yeah.
finally, you turn in or go to bed.
Okay, so before we get into the emotional side of things, let's touch on that first practice technique the sources recommended. The idea of talking to yourself, or narration.
Yes.
How does just talking into the air, using these simple phrases, actually help with fluency?
Oh, it's a fantastic technique because it builds speaking muscle memory. We said speaking is physical, right? By describing what you're doing in real time, like, okay, now I'm opening the fridge to get the milk, or I need to wash the dishes before I relax, you're using those common phrases in a totally safe environment.
So there's no pressure.
Zero pressure. You are activating the connection between your brain, your tongue, and your mouth without that fear of being judged by a native speaker.
That's a brilliant way to turn passive vocabulary into active, usable knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take this narrative a step further. Intermediate fluency isn't just a list, it's a story.
Right.
You have to be able to talk about the quality and the emotion of your day. How do we get beyond just saying, my day was good?
We need depth and variety. So when things go well, you need more powerful, positive phrases. Instead of good day, you could say, I had a great, amazing, or fantastic day.
Or if you want to focus on results, you could say something like, my day went really well, or
Yeah.
it was an incredibly productive day.
Yeah, that feeling when you cross everything off your to-do list. Or if the day just felt easy, you'd say, everything went smoothly today.
And if there was a fun social part, you could just say you had a blast.
Simple as that.
We should probably slip in a quick grammar point here because it's so important for sounding natural. You have to use the past tense, I had a great day, if the day is over.
Right.
But if it's still happening, you use the present continuous, like, I'm having a rough day so far.
Yeah.
That so far is key. It keeps the conversation current.
That's a huge distinction.
Yeah.
Now, for the flip side, when things are rough, this is often where learners struggle because they just don't have the vocabulary for nuance.
So true. You feel stuck with, I had a bad day, but you have so many better options. I had a terrible, rough, or even a draining day.
Draining is a great one. And when frustration is high, you might say, ugh, everything went wrong today, or nothing went according to plan.
And this is where that cultural fluency really comes into play. Sometimes you need a more understated option, something to soften the complaint.
Yes. Phrases like, I've had better days, or it wasn't my best day. They're like these incredibly useful conversational safety nets.
They get the feeling across without sounding like you're demanding sympathy.
Exactly. And speaking of feelings, we have to talk about that classic mistake with the ED versus ING adjectives.
Oh, this is a big one.
It is. If you're talking about how you feel, you use the ED ending. I am exhausted. I feel frustrated.
But the ING ending describes what caused the feeling. So, it was a tiring day. It was a frustrating meeting.
Getting that right instantly makes you sound more fluent.
So to really elevate the conversation, we need words that add that subtle color, that make the story believable.
You mean words like hectic?
Exactly. A hectic day is one that's super busy, full of stressful activity, and if that workload is too much to handle, you feel
overwhelmed.
And when you're telling a story about work, you might mention a subtle change in someone's behavior. Not obvious, not direct.
Or maybe you had to be assertive in a meeting. You were confident and direct about what you needed. These words are what turn a simple routine into a complex, personal story.
This brings us to what I think is the most important part of this whole deep dive, the fluency workout. We know why learners freeze up. It's not always a lack of words.
It's blank mind syndrome.
Yes, and the sources tell us this happens because speaking is a physical skill. It needs active, consistent training.
That's the core of it. Your mouth, your lips, your tongue, they're all muscles. And they need to practice the specific movements and the rhythm of English.
So if you only study grammar books, your body won't know what to do when a real conversation starts.
Which is why the sources recommend this 5-minute daily speaking workout.
Okay, tell us what this workout actually involves. It sounds like something you can start doing today.
It is. It starts with a technique called shadow speaking. This is basically intense mimicry. You take a short piece of native audio, maybe 30 seconds from this deep dive, and you repeat it at the exact same time as the speaker.
So you're not listening and then repeating. You're trying to speak along with them.
Exactly. And you're not focused on the meaning at first. You're focused intensely on their intonation, rhythm, and pronunciation.
So it's about training your mouth to copy the physical shapes and movements. Why is that focus on the musicality so important?
Because English is a stress-timed language. We don't say every single word with the same emphasis. A native speaker says, I had a meeting. The stress is on had and meeting.
Not I had a meeting.
Right. That sounds robotic. Shattering trains your brain and your mouth to internalize that natural rhythm. It builds that real-time speaking reaction.
The second technique is fascinating. Fluency loop repetition. How does saying one sentence at different speeds actually help?
It breaks that habit of mentally translating everything. You take one sentence, like, I'm going to grab my coat before I head out.
Oh, yeah.
First, you say it very slowly, really enunciating every syllable. Then you say it at a normal conversational speed. And finally, you say it as fast as you can without stumbling.
And repeating that process over and over. What does that do?
It trains your brain to go from slow, deliberate translation work to the automatic, fast pace of native speech. It builds comfort with speed. Your mouth learns to react without so much conscious thought.
So it closes that gap where the blank mind syndrome usually kicks in.
That's the goal. And to go from just sounding fluent to sounding truly native, we need to master sound clusters.
This is where it gets really advanced.
This is where the magic happens. We don't speak word by word. We blend 3 to 6 words together into a single chunk of sound. What are you doing? Becomes
what you doing, or maybe what you doing.
Yes. Practicing those clusters, like going to becoming gonna or did you eat becoming did you eat, makes your speech flow like music, not like a series of separate sounds.
Those clusters are often the reason people can't understand native speakers. Okay, so finally, let's talk strategy. What do you do when you still freeze up, even after all this practice?
That's where the psychological strategy comes in. You need to have safety nets. You prepare some go-to phrases ahead of time.
And these aren't about the topic itself.
No, they're just phrases to buy you time. Things like, that's a fantastic question. Let me take a second to gather my thoughts. Or maybe, that reminds me of something I read recently.
That is so practical. It keeps the conversation moving. Even if your brain hits a temporary wall, you stay in control, you buy yourself a few seconds to think, and then you can jump back in.
The core message through all of this is just, it's so powerful. Focus on communication over perfection. If you forget a word, like our refrigerator example just described it, say, the big white box that keeps the food cold. Consistency is everything. 5 minutes a day of active speaking, not just passive listening, is what will transform your English.
So to quickly summarize, we've armed you with the full vocabulary set for the entire daily routine, plus the language to connect those actions into a story. But most importantly, we've laid out these active fluency techniques: shadowing, fluency loops, sound clusters.
The things that actually train your mouth and brain to use all that vocabulary in a real conversation without freezing.
And remember that mistakes are not just okay, they are a necessary, vital part of this whole process.
You have to embrace the courage to sound like a beginner when you start these drills. That's the only way you earn the right to become a truly fluent speaker. That friction, that discomfort, that's where all the growth happens.
So here is a final provocative thought for you to chew on this week. Do you spend more time planning the language for your perfect day when everything goes smoothly? Or do you train the language muscles you need to describe your day when everything goes wonderfully wrong? When you need those complex, nuanced emotional phrases, try to focus on practicing both the positive and the negative stories equally.
Thank you for joining us for this depth dive into everyday English fluency. Keep practicing, be patient with yourself, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye for now, everyone.